Hi, class. This is Dr. Condor, and I'm going to be the teacher for the MA 256, the Creative Geometry course. And I'm going to have mostly instructional videos since we're online. We will meet on a regular basis. And you'll see here on your Canvas homepage. Now, my page looks a little different. Let me just switch over here to the more what you see. There's the what they call the student view, and so there's just some extra stuff in here on mine. And the first unit is here for yours, and I'll be adding a video, instructional video here under Unit 1. But at the top you see Zoom meeting. So when we meet, again, it'll be each week on Wednesdays. And I have a couple different sections. So sometimes if you hear me referencing a different time period, I'm referring to my other section. Both sections are run exactly the same. It's just that they're different time for the meetings. And so the Zoom, this address here, will always be the same for all. This is my personal Zoom meeting room. So I just put this up here, and you can click here to get into Zoom. But make sure you have the latest version, the updated Zoom app, so that everything works properly. And what'll happen is you'll click on this link. I'll set up the meeting, and then you'll go into a waiting room, and you'll have to be allowed into the classroom. So, and I do that one at a time. So I will not let like more than, and I have to also know or recognize your name. So when you're asked for the name, make sure that you use your actual Ringling listed name, because if I don't recognize the name, then I won't allow you into the classroom until you get that name changed. So again, at for my first class at 12:30 on Wednesdays, I'll open that up, and then I'll let people in one at a time. And again, it's just a security thing, and I don't know about the password, if there's going to be password protected or not yet. So once we get this going after the first time, should be able to figure it all out. But okay, so when we meet, and then we'll have, of course, things to talk about. And so I want to just go in more detail about how the course is set up. And I'm going to go back to, I'm going to leave the student view, because again, I have some other things on mine. You'll see it's more extensive than all the units. But the course is what I refer to as a math-based or visual math-based design course. So it's called Creative Geometry, and we use different areas of mathematics, mostly geometry, but it's not a geometry course like you would get a traditional geometry course maybe at a high school. So it's really just a lot of different things, but so it's kind of just a math-based art class. So if you're expecting something more or different than that, then maybe you want to try out a different course. So again, we're just going to learn how mathematics ties in and how we can use math to help us create some, designs. And that, we're trying to relate this to a lot of different disciplines. So it's going to be a very broad approach. In this class, we have computer animators and game designers and illustration majors and so on. So there's a pretty good mix of students, and the topics that I choose can be used by anybody in any field. So it's something that can benefit anyone. Again, it may not be what you want at this time. So today, And when we meet on the first day on Zoom, you'll be able to hopefully make the right decision to stick with this particular course, or maybe. But most of the students are usually very happy at the end when they write the evaluations that they've taken the course. They learn a lot. Not everybody. So it's up to you to make that decision up front. If you don't think this course is for you, then please don't stay in the course. Try to find something that you feel you'll get more out of. And so how is the course run? Well, let's go to the syllabus. And let's see what we get. All right, looks good. And this first page on the syllabus is just a mission statement. We skip that. And again, my name, Dr. Condor. Jim is fine. Of course, under normal circumstances, I go into the faculty office building, have office there. And this is just my cell phone number. So I'm not going on campus. Again, you probably realize that the liberal arts courses are going to be taught fully online for at least for now. So you can email me if you want to get in touch with me. You can email me again at this jcondor@c.ringling.edu. It's the best way to get in touch with me. Office hours, again, available online only using Zoom. We'll have time each week to ask questions. And then if there's more time needed on an individual basis, then we'll have to set up a Zoom meeting. So this is the same I got two courses again. They just run back to back. One's 12:30 to 3:15. The other one's 3:30 to 6:15. And I apologize for all the, people all over the world. This is in terms of Eastern Standard Time in the United States. And there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to set up the schedule. And some people it's as later, or much later, or much earlier. So we'll do the best we can. Now, in general, the meeting times won't run this entire time because I'll be doing instructional videos where I normally would have been in the classroom and talking about the material. And I'll be putting that on a video and then giving you chances to ask questions on that when we meet. Okay. And we run from the 7th to the 12/18. So, and again, this is a course really that looks at a lot of different topics, important topics. Some of the big things that are going on in art and design, but mostly, we're thinking about a visual design nature for the course. I don't get into, sculpting, talking about that much, or building, handcrafted materials, those types of artworks. We don't really talk a lot about, like photography. Things have changed. The digital realm really we're relating to those fields that have been affected mostly by the computer. So not much of a fine arts course or emphasis, but there is, again, the stuff that we talk about can be used in absolutely any area. The student learning outcomes, again, these change all the time, but they're basically just, you can read through that. And again, the competencies, they seem to want them written different all the time. It's hard for me to keep up with all the changes that go on above, but my main goal here is the outline. What are we doing in the course? And you'll see, here's a tentative schedule. And you need to just follow this. All the due dates already set for everything. And if you look at this closely, you'll notice that there are no exams in the course. but there are due dates for activities and projects. So we don't have regular paper pencil type of exams, especially now being totally online. But we have these activities that you need to complete in projects. And then there's a presentation for our final exam, right? So we don't have a pencil paper final, but we do have a final exam or a meeting time where people will talk about their presentations. And that's at the end. And we'll talk about that as the course goes on. And for a lot of students, that's, they're kind of like their, what they like the best about the course when they got to go out and do some research on their own and get a little chance to summarize what they found out about the link between math and some kind of art concept. So again, this week, again, when we start out, we talk about higher dimensions, and then there's an activity due the following week. And the following week, I call it open lab because I don't go over any new material. There's usually a lot of questions and people trying to figure out how to do things and work on their projects. And that's what we do in the open lab. It's to kind of complete on this unit. And then, of course, we repeat that process. The second topic is really not just the golden ratio that says here, but it has to deal with proportioning systems. And that is the focus of this. So math-based grids, designing those, and using those to create visuals in 2 and 3 dimensions. And then we kind of, again, we'll work on completing that up the next week. And you'll see the due dates for project 1 activity. Perceptions, very important concept in visuals, extremely important. And how to develop simple mathematical models. We'll talk a little bit about trigonometry with that. And again, the open lab following. And we have parametric design. Again, very important concept. We use fractals, complex numbers, and so on. And as we get on through Islamic art for different types of math-based grids, circles, extremely important. Again, polar equations, another form of a math grid that's used when you do have a lot of circular types of functions and things. So open lab. Procedural generation, again, something else that is very important in things like game development and so on. Open lab. Geometry-based models, we go back and look at Gothic architecture and symmetry, piecewise defined functions. And also, all these are very important topics when you're dealing with visuals, no matter what area of design that you're in. And then we figure with, really the most important modular Bezier designs, everything's really we see today is grounded in how do you develop these Bezier models. And so we look at it like modular arithmetic and Bezier curves. So attendance. Attendance is required. So let me just put that. I follow the Ringling attendance policy and how they grade. So again, this is really just basically the same idea. And you can go into the COVID grading and attendance policies at this link if you want to see what Ringling. But basically, again, you need to be there on time. And your grade does get reduced if you miss. If you miss enough, you get withdrawn from the course. And so again, I know for some people that's a tough time, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, but that's, what we have to deal with. And so deadlines, I'm fairly flexible on those, but, you got to keep up with the work. Again, it says here, you cannot turn in late work on the last day. Again, you cannot turn in late work. There is a project that's due on the last day of class, but that's not considered late work. That's when it's due. So you can't wait till the end of the semester and try turning a bunch of stuff in. That's the only thing that will get you in trouble in this course. Most people do very well as far as grading wise, and except when they wait till the very end, and then they try to turn a bunch of stuff in, and it doesn't get accepted or it's wrong. And out of my one class, I had 25 students, and 5 people failed the class. And it was only because they were missing a lot of stuff. And so if you get behind and you're not turning things in, again, other than that, there's 8 activities, 20 points each. And I'll talk more specifically about those in a minute, but there's a grading rubrics on those. And then 8 projects, 30 points each. So you see the projects are more points. So you got to make sure you get those all in. And this is the rubrics for the project. And we'll look at those also. Presentation paper, 60 points, and the rubrics for that. So 460 total points possible. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to, get all 460 points. And a lot of people do. But again, not everybody does. If you fall below that D or D minus, whatever Ringling accepts, then you're down here. Lowest passing grade is a D minus. So once you get below that 61%, right, then it's a failing grade. And again, the incompletes, I don't really give incompletes for the course. It's not that kind of a class. You should be able to do all the work. It's not an excessive amount of work. It's very comfortable. And if you use your time wisely, you shouldn't have any problems. And I know a lot of people are busy. You got lots of other courses and you have major courses, and a lot of students, they think, this is just my liberal arts. Why do we have to take those? I hate taking those. And again, that's fine for you to think that way. That's, not how I think. You need a wide range. This course is really one of the most important courses you can take. People don't understand that, but it really is. Everybody should have to take this class. You want to be well-rounded, and you want to understand certain things, not just be great at programming 1 or 2 programs. That's not really going to set you apart from everybody else that can do the same thing when you go out into the workforce. Really, really extremely important. The more well-rounded you are, the more you're going to be accepted and contribute. So the liberal arts, again, I don't know about all of them, but I know this one is very important. So I expect, every student to take it serious just as much as any of their other courses. Okay, so this stuff is just, you can read. That's, again, this is not a pass-fail course. In a traditional semester, again, I never know what changes there may or may not be during the idea of a, like a pandemic or something that happens. But so the grading, again, you can always check with the registrar's office or your department, and they'll tell you if there's any specific differences with the grading. So it's okay. So that's the syllabus, and we're gonna take that out of here. And let's take a look at, let's go back to the home page. Okay, so again, Zoom meetings, every Wednesday for like the next 15 weeks. We'll be meeting, right, on Zoom. And I don't think we have any days off in there either, but at least on Wednesdays. But so we start at higher dimensions and the activity. So we're going to click on this activity. And basically, it's a long story. I've taught this course for, from what I'm remembering, is about 12 years now, I think. And when it started, it was very different. And we had different majors. We had different emphases in majors. And now we have a lot of different stuff going on, and more animators, more game designers, more illustration, less of a lot of other things. And so the course has changed uh, to match up with, the type of students, the majority of the students that are here. And so, and it'll continue to change. And what I want to do is open this up. And the course evolved around, it was very mathematical at first, just like a geometry class. And then I sat down and talked with the dean, and I said, "Is this really what they need? And could maybe would be best for them?" And we decided to work on it and change it. And what happened was, we went through several changes, and some worked, some didn't work, and we got feedback from the other department chairs, the chairs of the programs that students were going into, and said, "Hey, what do you want us to talk about?" And so that helped, and it kept evolving, and we got feedback from students, and that's really where I focused the development at. My PhD is in statistics. I teach full time statistics at the State College of Florida, and uh, I do some work for University of Arizona and another couple other places. But basically, I teach statistics other than here, and then I just was very interested in art and design. And when the job came up, I wanted to give it a shot. And again, that was like 12 years ago, and I haven't left yet. So I think it's because it's been a lot of fun working with students and seeing this evolve and helping make Ringling. It's a tremendous school. And again, I like being part of that. But so the activities basically were developed because this is what students liked. Not everybody. And I realize we have lots of different types of people in these courses every semester. But in general, I have questions that students will go through and get information from. So, for example, you'll see activity one, we look at the history of a concept, and we look at the history of higher dimensions very briefly. And we'll see that, again, and I'll talk in my more about this when I get to the other video, the instructional video. So we go through these questions, right, and we talk about them. And these, of course, are all leading to something. Okay, so whoops, I skipped here. There was an assignment one. So it's like a little thing that you do. These aren't very lengthy. We try to just get you thinking in a certain way. And there's some more questions. And there's assignment two, which gets you to do something and starts you thinking about building towards, the project. And here's some questions again, and here's another assignment. And you even start to think more broadly about this higher dimensions and creating a project of your own. And then again, uh, there is one last one, and assignment four. And then you should be ready then, after all that, to complete the project. So you go through, answer all the questions, and do the assignments. Each activity has 4 assignments in it, and then that leads you into the project. So these take some time. We'll talk about them in class. The video, I talk about them. And then we'll move on to the project. So you got to learn something first, basically. If I can. Get back this way. Okay, so we learned some stuff about higher dimensions and what people are doing with them, what traditionally has been thought about, what things, what now people are doing with them. And so you have a good idea, and you should have an idea of when people talk about higher dimensions in art and design. And so you just get a chance here to create a project. So it can be basically you decide on what you've heard. You decide on based on that, like the kind of project that you want to do, but it has to relate obviously to higher dimension. So uh, one of the things that we talk about with higher dimensions is hypercubes and what they are, and the mathematics and how they're designed, why they're designed, and where they are. So here's an example of, you have some title, in real application. So this is where students, I'll talk a lot about it on the videos, but just remember that all your projects have to relate to something real. So for example, this person talked about a hypercube table. So the table is obviously something that is real, that everybody would identify with. Now, what a hypercube table is what you create. And you'll see this person, they had drawn the base and put up in the vertices, the right number of vertices and design of what mathematically a hypercube would look like, and then what a hypercube table looks. So that would be their project, and they just talk about the concepts that was in it. So you have to answer a few questions. So I know exactly, pretty much what you were thinking about and where the math is, and how did you create that. So it's pretty fun. I think a lot of people really like all of the projects. Some people don't like all of them. That's okay. Again, we're all different. I picked the projects based on student feedback. So the projects that we use in this course are the ones that are most popular, over about 40 of them that I've done over the last 12 years. So I picked the ones in higher dimensions. A lot of people interested in it. They It's a good start. It doesn't require a whole lot. It's more a creative process, and there's no right or wrong. It's very much what you want to do with it. So it's a good start, and then you can look at other people's examples. So for example, let's look at this hyper candle. Here's a project that a student had turned in, and so basically they just called it hyper candle, and they had candles on a table. They were an illustration major, and it was for rental promotion advertisement. Okay, so they wanted a fourth dimensional candle. Took the framework of a hypercube, and they used Photoshop and Illustrator, and they built that. And they said I took a picture of the hypercube. So they say I did not use any math computations. They used math, but they didn't do any computations themselves, which is okay. That's fine. But see, here's their hyper candle that they created. So you can see very easily it's in the shape of a hypercube. And that's what they would use it for. So it would sit on a table in a room or something like that. So great job. So this is exactly what they were supposed to do. So this project was pretty much exactly, again, what they were supposed to do. And I usually put, half a dozen or so just to give ideas. Now, these are all hypercube. You don't have to use the hypercube, but that seemed to be like people like just using that as a start. and it was okay. But I'm going to change these up a little bit, and I'll add those. So, but that pretty much is how the course is run. Then you'll see, Unit 2, Unit 3, 4. This is mine are all out because I'm working on them. And remember, student view. See, student view, you only see the first part first, okay? I'm going to put a video link in here and an orientation. This video will be linked out for your orientation, so in case you want to go back through it or something. But the video link, it's very slow right now, so it may take a couple days, but it'll get up there. So, and we'll talk about it when we meet. So, but if you have any questions, be sure to email me again. Just to roughly run over this again, Zoom meetings every Wednesday. There is attendance requirement. Make sure you read through the syllabus, the tentative schedule, all the due dates are on the schedule. And the grading is solely you do your activities, 20 points each, projects are 30 points each, and a presentation is 60 points. That's your grade. It's calculated from those possible 460 points. And, we go from there. So we'll obviously be talking very soon. And I'm going to go ahead and end this video at this time.